Another Savage tier means another early week 1 final turn guide, and this time around it's the final boss of the Arcadion heavyweight raid, Lindwurm. This is a 2-phase boss fight with a checkpoint in the middle, and this video covers the first phase. There will be a second one posted in a day or two for phase 2, so please look forward to it. This guide is a little bit different to how I normally do things. It's less scripted and more a collation of resources that I find helpful, as well as explanations of how things work. Before we begin, bear in mind that this is a week 1 video with week 1 strats, so there will be small amounts of missing information or suboptimal placements here and there, but everything here is easy to understand and, importantly, works. If there's a specific strat that gets proliferated and is crazy good, I'll make a separate video of it and link it in the description. This guide also assumes you're familiar with standard raiding spots and terms like light parties, colour pairs, and so on. With that said, let's get started. Lindwurm opens with a raid wide called the Fixer. This hits hard, so make sure to mitigate. The first real mechanic is called Mortal Slayer. For this, Lindwurm will spawn 8 orbs on its wings in sequence, with 2 happening at a time, and once they are all telegraphed and the cast bar ends, they will shoot at the closest player to the middle of his hitbox in that same sequence. Green orbs are soakable by DPS and healers, and purpley orbs are tank busters. There will be 6 greens and 2 purples. Left wing orbs shoot people in the left side of the hitbox, and right wing orbs shoot people in the right side. So your challenge is to decide who takes which orb, walk inside the hitbox to take it, and then walk out so the next guys can shuffle in and take it themselves. How do we do this? Conga strat. From left to right, healers, melee, range. You can see the lineup on the strat image, and you can physically make it in-game to make it super obvious. Tanks can stand at the far right, considering they are essentially dealing with a separate mechanic. From left to right, players will take the orbs chronologically. If 2 green orbs spawn at the same time, left is the next in line and right will be the second one after that. Once you know what you have, you can leave the line and pre-position on the edge of the hitbox on that side of the room. Then, when your turn is next, funnel inside, take your hit, and walk out to the left and right side respectively. Bear in mind that you can get 2 orbs going off at the same time on the same side, but there's tons of space, so just go in the hitbox further if you're the first in the conga line from that double hit. Tanks do the same. First purple orb for main tank, second purple orb for off tank. After a while, Grotescery Act 1 will cast. This will place a little goopy flesh buddy on each player, spreading its tendrils in one of the 4 cardinal directions. See which direction it's aiming in, and later on you'll need to remember it so you can aim it away from other players. You're also going to get a purple debuff that shows they're attached to you, and potentially one of 2 others. This means stack, and this means spread. It's roll baited, so one roll will be all spreads, and the other will get 1 stack and 3 nothings, and those 4 players will need to end up together. Then, you're going to stack on the northwest corner of the arena as a group and prepare to bait some AoEs on the ground. There will be 4 in total, so you'll want to run them into the hitbox, and then south, ending up at the middle. One of Lindwurm's arms will grow into a dragon and trail into the room, and then face into either west or east. He's going to be cleaving there just like in normal, so you want to get behind the head. Then, you'll need to set up in that safe spot in your spreads or light parties, and face your parasite buddy away from other players, either outside the arena or through the middle in the empty safe spot. This does a lot of damage, so mitigate it well. These images show your spots as support and DPS for stacks and spreads. It's very lenient on timing to actually pull off. Immediately after this, collapse into the middle of the arena because a bunch of expanding AoEs are spawning, and they are going to get big real fast. There's only 2 patterns here, and for each there are 2 safe spots. There will be a big safe spot and a small safe spot. One on the front of either left or right, and the other in the middle of the opposite wall. The front spot is always the big quote-unquote safe spot. The tanks get tank busters, and the group gets a stack. You need to fit these in the free spaces. So theoretically, between the big safe spot and the small safe spot, you have 3 safe spots. And between the 2 tank busters and the group, you have 3 attacks going off. You need to fit them in those spots. What we did during prog is we sent the double tanks to the big safe spot because there's 2 spaces, and then we sent the group to the small safe spot because there's 1 safe spot there, and that works fine. What you can actually do is have the stack at the front and the tank busters at the back stacked on top of each other. You can double invuln this tank buster, but you do not need to. It hits like a wet noodle, so you can just use mitigations and still take the double buster and survive with no problem. After this will be another raid-wide into Grotescery Act 2. This mechanic is essentially Looper from the Omega Protocol reskinned, honestly. Every player will get a debuff for 1st through to 4th in line, and either an alpha or a beta with a timer counting down. When your timer hits 0, a chain will spawn between you and the other player with the same number as you, and it must be snapped before it begins to hurt. When a tether is broken by running away from one another, and ideally you want to be stacked when it hits 0 so you don't have to move as far when you break it, it will drop a tower underneath where the beta player was when it broke, which must be taken by another player. During this whole mechanic, 4 goop puddles will also spawn in sequence, and they will transform into towers and go off in that same sequence, roughly in line with when these chain breaks and tower placements take place. Lindwurm will use Cruel Coil like in normal mode, pull you all to the middle, and begin spinning around you, leaving a small exit spot on one of the cardinal directions. Basically what you have to do here is break chains, drop towers, and then have another player take them as well as the naturally spawning towers. Every player will break 1 chain and take 1 tower. You'll also all need to escape the Cruel Coil before the end of the mechanic. This is simple to deal with, even if it sounds a lot. You will break chains in order. 1, 2, 3, then 4. The alpha will break by leaving the Cruel Coil. The beta will walk away from the opening towards the snake wall. You will take towers in the order 3, 4, 1, then 2. Alphas will take the naturally spawning towers, the ones from the blobs on the floor, and beta will take the towers spawned by players breaking their chains. The order of the blob spawn is really fixed and easy to judge. The first 2 drop inside the snake and the last 2 drop outside. So for example, as a 3 alpha, you're thinking that you are the first tower and then the 3rd chain break. And as alpha, you are the one who leaves the Cruel Coil for your chain. That's all you need to remember. When your timer hits 0, break chain on the next rotation, know which tower you take, and know if you are in or out. Once everybody does this right, the mechanic will go nice and smoothly. Everyone who stayed in for their chain breaks just needs to remember to leave the Cruel Coil at the end of the mechanic. This is all followed by Splattershed, which is a raid-wide that's a bit less scary than the Fixer. Grotescery Act 3 follows, which will once more spawn the little Viscera buddies on you in one of the 4 cardinal directions, and then shortly after the boss will become untargetable. This time, you cannot turn and face the goop on your shoulder, and you just must instead make note of which direction it is facing in. The snakes will break the arena just like in normal mode, leaving all 4 corners or all 4 cardinals safe in little squares. Then the blobs on your shoulder will shoot a tower across the arena in their direction. Players will be bound in place and they must be pre-positioned to take a tower that another person shot. You'll split into pairs with this, with 2 players on each safe square. The shoulder friends will dictate who goes where, and you'll want to stand in the corners of the safe spots to position and shoot over your towers. I found it easiest to go to my cardinal direction every time, then check the snakes, and if it's intercardinal safe, rotate clockwise into the corner. Then supports take the front spot, and DPS take the back spot. These towers are pretty big, so that's why you see on the cardinal pattern, the front towers are on the front left, rather than the front right as you see on every other pattern. This is to prevent overlap and to ensure that the placement isn't tight. Then the boss will return and the middle of the arena will be reconstructed. 2 snakeheads will appear, one on the west and one on the east, and shortly after, they will shoot line AoE tank busters at the closest targets. Aim them straight upwards or downwards depending on the arena floor pattern, and leave the middle of the arena safe for the party to hang out in. After these go off, the 3 remaining players from each light party will need to bait spread AoEs. These spread AoEs target the 3 players furthest from each snakehead. So the tanks will run into the center of the room, and Light Party 1 will spread at the left head, with Light Party 2 spreading at the right head. Melees north, healers middle, ranged at the back. Raid-wide damage follows. After this, once more head to the northwest to prepare to bait puddles, just like before, though bear in mind you have a bit less space to deal with it. Grotescery Curtain Call will cast before you do these baits, and it will assign 4 players with nude purple debuffs, and the other 4 with the spread markers you're already familiar with. This is role based, so all DPS will get 1, and all supports will get the other. Everybody will also get an alpha debuff, which you can ignore till later. As you're baiting puddles, the dragon head from earlier in the fight will begin to trail into the arena just like before, and it'll end up facing and cleaving a big chunk of either the east or west side of the arena, again just like it did before. If you have a spread debuff, you'll need to spread away in the safe side behind the dragon head. If you have the purple debuff though, you need to be hit by the dragon's cleave whilst also spreading. This does a lot of damage, so mitigate. You can easily use these spread positions for your spots, so just do this every time. Make sure that immediately after this mechanic you collapse back into the middle again. Because those alphas will come into play shortly afterwards, chaining supports to DPS players and necessitating that the chains be broken. Expanding AoEs will also spawn again, this time in a different pattern to earlier in the fight, and you need to break your chains and find the safe spots. To find the safe spots, there will always be 1 at the front on one side, and 1 on the back on the other side. Support will go to the west to break, and DPS will go to the east to break. Please note that the actual chain snap needs to occur whilst spread out because it has a little bit of an AoE around it, which is why you spread in the configuration shown in this image. A raid wide follows, and then the first mechanic of the fight, Mortal Slayer, will repeat. Deal with it in exactly the same way as before. After this and another raid damage, you're heading into the last main mechanic of the fight. This is exceptionally simple at its core. There are safe spots on the front left and on the front right from these new expanding AoEs. One is bigger than the other. 4 players will get spread markers, 1 will get a stack, and the other 3 get nothing. This is once again role-baited, split between supports and DPS. You need to send the stack and the nothings into the small safe spot, and the 4 spreads into the big safe spot. The spreads will spread out like so. This is mirrored, so basically the healers and ranged will always take the spots close to the walls. Whilst you're doing this mechanic, pay attention to Lindwurm's arms. He will grow either 2 dragon arms or 2 normal arms. Pay attention to both the order and the type of arm. After this spread or stack mechanic is over, these arms will do their mechanics. Dragon arm is a half room cleave, so you'll dodge left then right or right then left. Normal arm will have him slam the northwest or northeast corner depending on which arm is first, and that is a big knockback, and then he'll slam the other one. All of this is followed by a raid wide, and then this entire mechanical sequence repeats 2 more times unchanged. With that, assuming you beat the check, you should be ready to move on to phase 2. I do have 2 notes before I leave you and wish you luck. Firstly, if you're seeing to the end of the fight here in current gear, first GCD buffs are likely the play. There's a 1-minute window right at the end of the fight, and you lose value on it if you delay at all and you see to the end. That's what we did, at least. Secondly, I've seen a different Cruel Coil strat floating around, and that seems nice too. I haven't tried it yet personally, so I haven't included it in this video, and I honestly believe the strat I did include is very easy to remember and also to execute, but if that other strat ends up becoming PF standard, I'll update in the future. I left a macro in the description for that mechanic too, and you can either post it for the party or make an echo macro to make memorization super easy. With that, best of luck.